He Yanli didn't speak, just waited for her to finish eating and reached for the scallion braised sea cucumber, only to have the piece he aimed for snatched away by another pair of chopsticks. He lifted his eyelids and met that snow-bright face again. Your Highness should eat more. He Yanli went for barbecue and pork bun next, and sure enough it was snatched away again. After several such incidents, Kia Wanyan was full from the stolen food. Didn't the say she had an appetite-inducing face? Was it still appetizing now? She dared countless compliments growing up, but never one about being appetite-inducing. It definite lie was enta compliment. He Yanli chuckled with undisguised mockery. He pulled the only untouched plate of osmanthus cake in front of himself, slowly picked up a piece, and took a bite. This osmanthus cake has a good texture. Would Minister Kiao like to try some? Minister Kiao smacked his lips. He dick known his daughter would have breakfast with him this morning, so he'd especially asked her favorite cook to make these, since his daughter had been too busy provoking Prince Jing to eat any. He'd wanted to save a couple pieces for her, but before he could say sure, Prince Jing added, "It's rare for me to eat such delicious osmanthus cake. Imagine Minister Kiao would bear to share, so I'll enjoy them myself." Minister Kiao. He looked at Prince Jing, then at his daughter's irritated face, and subtly withdrew his gaze. Your Highness, if you like them, I'll have more made and sent to you tonight. His daughter had loved osmanthus cake since childhood, when Prince Jing was still a prince. He'd bring fresh baked cakes from the imperial kitchen, wrapping them in oil paper and keeping them warm against his chest in winter to deliver to the Shang Shu mansion. Prince Jing knew full well how much she loved osmanthus cake. This was deliberate, but as someone who'd been through it, Minister Kiao understood. Hate was just a front. He still cared deeply. Thinking of this, he looked at his daughter with pride. Who could bear to hate Yan Yan? His precious girl cherished like a jewel. He Yanli drawled, "I trouble? Should I summon an imperial physician? You can't keep glaring at me like this." He Ziyu chose this moment to enter. What a coincidence, my royal brother having breakfast with Minister Kiao. No wonder. Father asked where you were. Minister Kiao and Kiao Wanyan rose to bow. At the sight of He Ziyu, He Yanli lost all appetite. What brings you here so early? Elder brother? Minister Kiao was used to Prince Jing referring to the crown prince as this king. They were royalty, and as a subject, he had no place to interfere. He Hugh said and hurriedly, fixing his gaze on Kiao Wanyan. Wanyan, archery yesterday but was delayed this afternoon. Since I'm a free today, I came to ask if second miss would like to continue her lessons. He Yanli frowned, shooting a disapproving look at Kia Wanyan. Archery? Since when do you know archery? Kia Wanyan said calmly. Your Highness, swords are strange. Archery is. Archery, does it have categories? He Yanli raised an eyebrow. I remember teaching you archery myself. Did I misremember? Kia Wanyan sighed. Memory fades with age. Don Tori. Your Highness, everyone goes through it. He Hugh hid a smile, recognizing she was provoking He Yanli on purpose, but choosing not to intervene. In fact, he thought she could be more blunt. He Yanli was amused by her audacity. Kia Wanyan. He enunciated each word. You archery myself, hand in hand. The last 5 words were slow and emphasized. The smile vanished from He Hugh's eyes. Learning archery now seems rather funny. Weren't you once a prodigy? A wasted sharpshooter? Have you forgotten? Kia Wanyan remained unflustered, feigning confusion. Is your Highness drunk this early? What are you rambling about? When did I learn archery from you? She added, the tent reeks of wine. Father, how could you drink with His Highness so early? Minister Kiao forced a smile. Pardon me, Your Highness, I was thoughtless. He Yanli watched the father-daughter duo turn white into black. He Ziyu understood He Yanli would invent lies. Kia Wanyan had learned archery from him. It made sense for childhood friends to share such lessons. His mind accepted it, but his heart rebelled. A dark Cold look flashed in his eyes as he regarded He Yanli like a Laoli seducer. Childhood sweethearts, what a joke. If they'd been truly inseparable, their childhood bond was meaningless, not deceitful, for someone with a crush, not annoyance. Has your highness had breakfast? He Hugh affirmed. He Hugh said gently. Good, the sun is strong today. Kia Wanyan said. I'll have someone bring an umbrella. Kia Wanyan smiled. Thank you, your highness. You're so kind to me. He Hugh smiled. Let's go to the range. As they turned to leave, just a joke, He Yanli looked at him, rising. Minister Kiao, if you want to cause trouble, just do it. Why tell me? I wouldn't know, your highness. He Yanli scoffed. Old fox. Mo how? Kia Wanyan gazed up at the ink painting, while He Hugh watched her quietly, as if less impressed than expected. Undisturbed for years, now rippled at her indifferent gesture. Kia Wanyan said softly. After your highness left yesterday, does your highness find me troublesome? She looked up at him, wordlessly touching his heart. Meeting her earnest eyes, don't think that. Kia Wanyan just smiled, turned, nocked an arrow, and aimed. The shot missed the bullseye, only grazing the edge of the target. She could hit the bullseye in no time. He Hugh didn't follow the arrow's flight. Wait, flatter? But now I have my dream teacher, somewhere in retirement. The old tutor sneezed repeatedly. Strict? She'd retired early. Kneeling urgently. Your highness, disaster. The stable granary caught fire. He Hugh frowned. Wanyan, practice on your own for now. Go quickly, your highness. Kia Wanyan urged, as He Hugh hurried away. Kia Wanyan watched his back and said leisurely, I like this umbrella. Xiuan was confused. Miss, you acted so calm. I saw his highness looking unhappy. Kia Wanyan turned, unconcerned. Amin as lofty as the crown prince. Didn't TSC old me for being melodramatic? Even when annoyed, that means his limits for me. Haven to being reached. The crown prince was one to tolerate indefinitely. He'd publicly rebuked Kiao Yi Huan when she was harassed by the Yun Jian Yancy Sun shopkeeper son while serving porridge. Xiuan asked, should we go back? With the stable fire, rounding up the horses will take time. His highness probably won't be back soon. Maybe not at all today. Kia Wanyan ran her finger along the umbrella sedge, admiring the peonies. How about we have some fun? Xiuan raised an eyebrow. Who do you have in mind, miss? Kia Wanyan met her gaze, her peach blossom eyes crinkling with mischief. Let Susi Lu Jinyang as a target. Both mistress and maid turned to look at the tall youth standing with his sword, who inexplicably shive read. He had a bad feeling about those looks. The azure sky stretched boundless, not a single cloud in sight, as the warm sun poured its unreserved radiance onto the earth. Lu Jinyang stood before the archery target, an apple perched on his head, eyeing Kia Wanyan in the distance, who was drawing her bow and taking aim at him. Kia Wanyan was in high spirits when she suddenly sensed a kill behind her. Before she could turn around, a pair of hands sped hers that held the bow. Your highness? Weren't you at the horse ranch? Why are you back? The person behind her didn't respond, just realigned the wavering arrowhead toward Lu Jinyang in the distance. Xiuan summoned her courage. This servant greets Prince Jing. Kia Wanyan's expression shifted. He Yanli's gloomy gaze fell on Xiuan, who immediately slipped and knelt. This servant pays respects to your highness. Bearing immense pressure, Xiuan forced out the words to warn her mistress. Since this king's teachings failed to master archery, it's only right to make up for it now. Look ahead, aim at him. Though she didn't attach the specific pronoun, Kia Wanyan heard the killing intent in his cold tone. The arrow whooshed from the bow, tearing through the air toward Lu Jinyang's shoulder. Not a fatal shot, but enough to cause trouble. She dared Lu Jinyang mentioned their fates were intertwined, so He Yanli wouldn't risk killing him, but he clearly loathed the wretch. With a quiver, Lu Jinyang deftly caught the arrow between his index and middle fingers. The arrow speed made his hand throb as it vibrated in His grasp, he snapped it in two, the pieces clattering to the ground. He Yanli's deep voice rumbled in her ear. Your dog is disobedient. Qiao Wanyan said flatly, he only obeys me. Silence followed. Ziyuan risked a peek through lowered lashes, then quickly looked away, terrified by He Yanli's gloomy face. At least she was already kneeling, or she'd have slipped again. Qiao Wanyan could see the expression behind her. Ever since Lu Jinyang took the poison at the Flower God Temple, he'd been much more obedient. She rarely punished him now. Second Miss Qiao, the 10th princess requests your presence. She made some sweets for you to try, saying she'll be occupied with the Xiling envoy later this afternoon. For some reason, He Baozhu had gained the emperor's favor recently, with Axeling princess accompanying the envoy. He Baozhu would attend the reception with the crown prince. The maid stole a glance but didn't dare speak. What was this scene? Did Prince Jing seem to be teaching second Miss archery? Weren't they rumored to be enemies? And was that second Mrs. Guard? Was Prince Jing forcing her to shoot her own guard? How cruel. Receiving no response, Mo Hao waved the maid away. A guard followed, presumably giving instructions, and she scurried off. Qiao Wanyan said, the princess is waiting. No need for your Highness to teach me. His Royal Highness will do so when he's free. He Yanli was silent, then released her with a dark face. Qiao Wanyan turned and left, without a backward glance, Ziyuan hurrying after to hold the umbrella. But after walking some distance, she trotted back. He Yanli's shirt twitched, only to see her grinning as she snatched the gaudy bow from his hand. This is mine, the pretty bow his Royal Highness gave me. I forgot it. Clearly provoking him, He Yanli didn't get angry. Instead, he laughed, snatched the bow, snapped it in half, and tossed it back. Up slipped. Qiao Wanyan's smile vanished. The broken bow would bear cracks even if repaired. You owe me a new bow. She threw the pieces at him. Mo Hao started, then relaxed. Even if she slapped the prince, he would entharm a hair on her head. She was taking advantage of his leniency, returning to her old willful ways. He Yanli drawled no. Qiao Wanyan frowned, though the he-she by the crown prince gave didn't suit her. She truly loved this phoenix bow. How dare he break it? She wanted to slap him, but she didn't dwell on provoking him. She blamed him entirely. The horse ranch fire? With the imperial convoy here, how could guards be so negligent? She guessed He Yanli started the fire to keep her from being alone with the crown prince, so she'd deliberately irritated him. But a lesson from Yun Heng: ignoring someone hurts more than slapping. Qiao Wanyan declared, I'm ignoring you forever. She turned to leave. He Yanli paused, surprised by her reaction. In memory, she'd have thrown a tantrum, but now ignoring him? Stop right there. She ignored him, picking up speed. He Yanli caught up, grabbing her wrist and pulling her back. She wrenched free but refused to look at him. Her porcelain doll face showed no emotion, her gauzy dress shimmering in the sun. This king may not care for you, but I'm not without chivalry. Qiao Wanyan inwardly scoffed. Chivalry? When have you acted chivalrous? Stop pretending to be he-hu, she said softly. You don't care. She blew gently on her other hand. He Yanli's face stiffened, feigning calm. My father once gave my mother a bow, called Chasing the Moon. Consider it compensation. Mo Hao started. Chasing the Moon was a masterpiece by the realm-stop craftsman, hailed as the finest bow in the land, a gift from the emperor to consort Hui on her wedding day. Qiao Wanyan's face lit up. How would the crown prince react if she wielded Chasing the Moon? Competition was the best trigger for Amensigo. The Xiling envoy arrived that afternoon. In the palace, Ziyuan massaged Qiao Wanyan's shoulders. Misheard the Xiling envoy brought the wrong prince children, his legitimate son and daughter. The prince is eunuch climated, so his royal highness ordered him to rest. Qiao Wanyan flipped through a book, uninterested. Ziyuan gossiped. That Xiling princess is so arrogant, she dissed. Our tea. How dare she look down on Deu? Though Xiling had risen recently, it was once insignificant. Kia Wanyan said flatly. The Envo wise must have apologized with smiles. Xiuan gasped, how did you know? Guards said they were polite. Kia Wanyan closed the book, rubbing her temples. No surprise. Xiling isn't tea. What it was, sending such a haughty person on an important mission? She's just the bad cop. One bad cop. Others good cops, and Deu would end stoop to quarreling with a girl. That would be shameful. Xiling semper or disrespects Deu but dares not offend openly. Xiuan wondered, what about the prince? Is he another bad cop? Him? Probably a madman one way or another. Kia Wanyan. A familiar voice burst from outside. She frowned. Zhang Qian. Weren't rumors that he'd been stripped and hung on a scaffold this morning? What was he doing here? Let him in. Zhang Qian stormed in, face dark. I get drunk last night and went to see your father. Kia Wanyan blinked. And, you dare ask? And, I was hung on a scaffold this morning, with a huge whip mark on my back. Your father would never do that. No one in Shanglin hunting ground but you would. First slaps, now whips. Sobering up. He only knew he'd gone to see Minister Kiao drunk. The Jing and Marquis household kept mum, and his parents scolded him for filial impiety. Without explanation, only Kiao Wanyan would bully him, so his parents must have covered it up. Knowing Minister Kiao would protect his daughter, Kiao Wanyan gave him a disdainful look. What did this have to do with her? Zhang Qian was so dim. Who knew who he'd offended? It wasn't me. Impossible. You don't believe me? Zhang Qiyun recalled past misunderstandings, his bluster fading. Well, maybe not. But who else would dare? The emperor and crown prince would. Prince Jing grew up with me. No one else has the guts. He was frustrated he'd cause havoc if he knew the culprit, but he couldn't even find out who it was. Kia Wanyan stayed silent, thinking she was angry. Zhang Qiyun backtracked. I didn't mean. If it was NTU, it was NT. I was just asking. I'll go. He fled. Xiuan asked, Miss, are you okay? Kia Wanyan made a decision. Him. Xiuan was confused. Him who, miss? Kia Wanyan smiled. Just picked a nice sacrificial lamb. After leaving Kia Wanyan, Zhang Qiyun went to find the servant who followed him to Minister Kiao's tent. He could fa Tom why he'd gone there drunk. His mind a blank. Around a corner, a scarlet figure approached. Zhang Qiyun sidestepped just in time, nearly colliding. Shen Shuan started stepping back. She was about to curse, but the words died in her throat at the sight of him. Zhang Qian snapped, can't you see? He tried to leave. Shen Shuan blocked him. Wait. He glared. What do you want? Blocking me? Who are you? Her maid declared. This is Princess Shen Shuan of Xiling Shrong Prince Manor. Who are you? Are all Deu people so rude? Zhang Qian sneered hardly. But I see Xiling people are as snobbish as you. The maid glowered. You. Shen Shuan raised a hand, silencing the maid. What's your name? Zhang Qiyun swatted her hand away. None of your business. Shen Shuan watched him go, smiling. Find out who he is. The maid nodded. That's Zhang Qian, young Marquis of Jinggan Manor. Shen Shuan turned to see a fair-skinned, delicate young woman. Jinggan Manor? So this was Zhang Qiyun, the little devil of the capital she dared about. She'd wanted to meet him, and now here he was. Who are you? Why call him by his given name? Kiao Yuhuan stepped forward, nodding. Kiao Yuhuan, eldest daughter of the Minister of Revenue. Call me Yihuan Princess. Shen Shuan frowned. Kiao Yuhuan, the most beautiful woman in the capital. That title seemed exaggerated. Did she buy it with silver? What's your relationship with him? Shen Shuan asked in a haughty tone, showing no respect at all for the daughter of a senior official in Deu. Kiao Yihuan looked at the back of Zhang Qiyun, gradually disappearing into the distance. We're just friends. Not close, but my younger sister has a good relationship with him. During the flower festival a few days ago. Ki-yun even gave my sister a whole set of rice paper flowers. Their friendship is really enviable. Shen Shu-en frowned. Is that true? Qiao Yi-huan remained calm. I've never met the princess before, so why would I lie to you? I'm used stating a fact. If you don't believe me, that's fine. Shen Shu norsted. I bet you would dare. Where's your sister? Tell her to come see me. Qiao Yi-huan looked in a difficult position. Well, my sister is close to the 10th princess and doesn't live with me. She stays in the imperial palace with the princess. It's not convenient for me to go there, so I'm afraid I can't help you with that. Shen Shun didn't say anything else and left straight away. Qiao Yi-huan took a step back to make way. After a long silence, she said softly, that princess from Xiling seems to like Ki-yun. Xiaoying had also noticed. Such a domineering and uneducated person must be extremely disliked by young Marquis. Qiao Yi-huan didn't speak further. Domineering and ostentatious people must have terrible jealousy. Qiao Yi-huan raised her head slightly and turned to leave. Let's not talk about this. His Highness has been too busy recently to see me, and now that the Xiling mission is here, he's even busier. Xiaoying was also worried. She had gone to see Jing Yuan several times these days to ask if the crown prince had time, so that Miss could meet him and pour out her grievances. But unfortunately, every time His Highness was busy with matters at the hunting ground and preparing for the Xiling mission, it had been delayed until now. Miss Dawn to be sad. His Highness want to be busy forever. He's busy with affairs now, so it's not a good time for you to see him. Let's wait a little longer. Thinking of this, Qiao Yi-huan let out a long breath. All right, there's no need to rush. The maid beside Shen Shu disguised herself and approached several maids who were cleaning. She gave them some silver and chit-chat, then subtly got to the point. After getting the information she wanted, she returned to Shen Shuan. Princess, this news should be reliable. Those maids came with the imperial convoy from the capital, so they must know about the capital's affairs. Shen Shuan snorted. I knew it. She came to talk to me for Arison. That bitch thought I was stupid and tried to use me as a tool. What about being just friends with young Marquis and not being close? What about young Marquis having a good relationship with her sister and giving her a set of rice paper flowers? She didn't know if the rice paper flowers were really given, but now she was sure that young Marquis had been very kind to that bitch just now and had defended her twice in public. But he had always clashed with her sister, arguing and bickering whenever they met. Princess, it's most likely that the two Qiao sisters are not on good terms, and the elder sister wants to use you to teach her younger sister Allison. Shen Shun threw the teacup to the ground. When Amin defends a woman, it's either because he has feelings for her or because of family ties. Young Marquis and that bitch have no family ties, so he must like her. Shen Shu and salmon-shaped eyes were filled with anger, as if she was upset about being played by someone as lowly as an ant, or perhaps because the person she had been wanting to meet had someone he liked. The maid didn't dare to speak. The princess was of marriageable age, and the prince and princess had sent her portraits of almost all the young talents in the city, but she still hadn't agreed to marry any of them. Now she was interested in that young Marquis, but the young Marquis of Jing and Hu Manor would definitely not go to Xiling. Would the princess marry into Deu in the future? Shen Shun was thinking about how to teach that audacious bitch Allison. Although she was in Deu, she couldn't swallow this insult. While she was worrying, she suddenly saw a figure in a bright red cloud dress appear in the distance. Her gaze slowly moved up, and she saw the woman in red walking gracefully. Her eyebrows were like distant ink wash, like a crescent moon reflecting on a lake. and her lips were as red as a blooming rose. Her skin was as white as jade, and her steps exuded innate elegance and nobility, like a goddess from the ninth heaven, coming with countless misty clouds. The corridor wasn't wide, only wide enough for 2 or 3 people to walk side by side. When 2 parties met, one side had to make way. However, Qiao Wanyan showed no intention of making way. Looking unfamiliar and, with that haughty demeanor, she was most like Lai, the princess of Xiling. Shen Shu-en stood there in a daze, with only one thought in her mind. Could there be such a beautiful woman in the world? The first beauty of Xiling, noble consort Yan, would probably pale in comparison to her. Shen Shu-ne felt that the person in front of her was a beauty that could unify everyone's aesthetics. After being shocked, she thought that if such a beauty was seen by that person, I'm afraid, Qiao Wanyan didn't stop walking, and Shen Shun instinctively made way. She didn't come to her senses until the person had walked far away. Could she be the Qiao family daughter known as the first beauty of the Deu capital? If she was, did the young Marquis of Jing and who manner have bad taste? Shen Shu Nicole still smell a faint fragrance in her nose. Shall I go and find out? Shen Shu Nith drew her gaze and sneered. No need. Such a beautiful woman won't live long. Such a rare beauty, but unfortunately, she can't avoid meeting that madman. Qiao Wanyan had told He Baozhu today that she would go back to the tent to stay for one night. Now she was planning to return from the imperial palace. Miss, that should be the princess of Xiling just now. I saw her staring at you in a daze. Xiuan pouted. Although the princess was looking at Miss, she felt very proud. Qiao Wanyan said calmly, call Yun Yao to my tent later. I want to ask her for a small favor. Xiuan didn't know what her Miss was up to and didn't ask, just agreed. Qiao Wanyan accidentally looked at the corridor on the west side and saw a strange face when their eyes met. The distance between them wasn't far, but when Qiao Wanyan met that gaze, she instantly felt a creepy discomfort. That gaze carried an extremely dangerous aura, unbridled and undisguised danger. Although it was still daylight outside, candles had already been lit in the tent. The warm yellow light flickered slightly, casting mottled shadows. Xiuan was sorting out the clothes and jewelry for Miss to enter the forest farm tomorrow. Since she was going hunting with the crown prince and others, she could undress as luxurious lie as usual. Yun Yao came in holding a sugar figurine. Sister Ayan, you wanted to see me? Yun Yao plopped down on a chair. Sister Xiuan said you wanted to see me, so I hurried over. The sweetness and eagerness for praise in her tone made Qiao Wanyan smile. Yun Yao is so good. Yunyo giggled, her slightly childish face breaking into a sweet smile, her bright eyes looking innocent and lively. Qiao Wanyan waved her hand to signal the maids to leave, and Xiuan also put down what she was doing and stood outside the door, dismissing the maids serving at the door. Qiao Wanyan pushed a plate of dyed fruits in front of her. Yun Yao, sister has a favor to ask of you. Just tell me. Sister Ayan, don't talk about favors. Your business is my business, Yunyo said proudly, patting her chest. Qiao Wanyan's tone was filled with a faint smile, as gentle as a spring breeze, making people unconscious lie relax their tense expressions and be bewitched by her. Sister wants a kind of medicine that can make people lose consciousness. Yun Yao suddenly stood up. In Qiao Wanyan's lightly surprised gaze, she took off the cloth bag she had been carrying and poured its contents onto the table. She looked through them seriously, muttering to herself, and finally chose a small black porcelain bottle to show off. Sister Ayan, this thing is amazing. The powder inside can be mixed into water or food. It's colorless and odorless, so no one will notice. As soon as you eat it, you'll faint on the spot, and you won't wake up for 6 hours. After that, Yunyo added, the sleeping time is a bit short, but this is the only one I have now. If you think it's not good enough, I can make another one, but I might have to go out to buy the materials. Kia Wanyan took it. This will do. Yun Yao, you're really sister's treasure. Yun Yao scratched her head and smiled. She lie. Don't you want to ask who I'm going to use it on? Yun Yao shook her head. That's our business. Sister, my brother said that. Everyone has their own secrets. And we shouldn't be too curious. By the way, I still have the itching powder I mod last time. I'll give it to you too. Use it if you can. Or just put it aside. Yun Yao had dinner at Kia Wanyan's place before going out to play again. In the evening, many young ladies gathered around the bonfire chatting and laughing, while Yun Yao played leaf cards with Guo Liching. Kia Wanyan poured the medicine she had just gotten from Yun Yao into the tea. After shaking it evenly, she said and hurriedly, Zelon, go and invite Zhang Qian over, and say Javi something to talk to him about. He came to question her without any reason. In the future, would Zhang Qian think of her first whenever something bad happened? Just as she was thinking about who to choose, he came running to her on his own. If she didn't choose him, it would be sorry for him to suspect her so much. In the novel at Shanglin Hunting Ground, she also met that strange man by chance and looked at him. That strange man was none other than Shen Che, the heir of the Ronkin Palace in Xiling, but his real identity was the Crown Prince of Xiling. The novel didn't describe him much, and Kia Wanyan didn't know much about his experiences, but she knew one thing. This person is not normal. Outside the tent, the sound of Zhang Qian's footsteps approached. The maid at the door came in to report, and a moment later, Zhang Qian walked in. You wanted to see me? What for? Kia Wanyan said. What do you think I want to see you for? I didn't have time to pay attention to you during the day. But don't you need to explain why you came to slander me without evidence? Zhang Qian pursed his lips, looking less arrogant. He had been extremely unlucky all day. The whip marks on his back were severe, and it still hurt after applying medicine. He had thought it was Kia Wanyan who had done it, but her reaction didn't seem like she had done it at all. So he became more and more curious about who had the audacity to do it. After leaving Kia Wanyan's place, he had met a domineering woman. What a terrible day. Apologize to me. Sorry, I was wrong. Ishald and they've daubted you. Zhang Qian apologized honestly, but this left Kia Wanyan confused. She was slightly taken aback. Did he apologize just like that? From what she knew about Zhang Qian, even if he was wrong he wouldn't admit it. How was she supposed to proceed now? Is this how you apologize? Zhang Qian let out a heavy sigh and walked towards her, looking at her jade-like face. He leaned in and brought his face close to hers. Then hit me. After you hit me, this matter will be over. Kia Wanyan, had she never been slapped before? So she didn't know that being slapped didn't hurt. Why was he asking her to hit him? Kia Wanyan was silent for a moment. Why would I hit you? I'm not an unreasonable person. I just want an attitude from you. Zhang Qian's ears were buzzing. Although he was very close to her, that elegant fragrance still filled his nose. Why did she smell so good? Like she had been soaked in flower nectar. Sweet but not like candied fruits. Then how can I make it up to you? Just say it. I'm not someone who can take it. If it is something wrong, I'll take the consequences. Kia Wanyan let out a long breath. Alright, then you can punish yourself by drinking 3 cups. Zhang Qian didn't expect it to be so easy. He turned around and was about to go out to find wine, but Kia Wanyan stopped him. Drink tea instead of wine. You act reckless lie when you ray drunk. And I didn't want to see a drunk person causing trouble here. Zhang Qian looked at the teapot on the table, then at her. After a moment of silence he asked, Are you sure? Kia Wanyan nodded slightly. Zhang Qian's face flickered. He picked up the teapot, poured a cup and drank it in one gulp, then drank 2 more cups. The tea tasted fresh, and there was no strange taste in his mouth. The next second, his head suddenly felt dizzy, and his eyelids felt as heavy as lead. Unable to open His whole body was weak, and he looked at Qiao Wanyan sitting there with a smile. I knew you had bad intentions. He fell to the ground and lost consciousness completely. Qiao Wanyan smiled. You still drank it. So stupid. Lu Jiani walked in from outside. He glanced at Zhang Qiyun lying on the ground, then looked away, waiting for orders without saying a word. Qiao Wanyan said calmly, put him on the bed. Lu Jiani didn't move. He looked at her with a strange gaze. Are you crazy? Qiao Wanyan, you're the one who's crazy. What are you thinking? Just do what I say. You've been obedient for a few days, and now you want to be stubborn again? Lu Jiana's face turned dark. He grabbed Zhang Qiyun's collar and lifted him onto the bed. It seemed that he used some force when throwing him onto the bed. If Zhang Qian had been awake, he would have been thrown around and would have fought with Lu Jiana. You don't need to keep watch tonight. Lu Jiana stood there with an even uglier expression. He wanted to say something but didn't know how. Out of the corner of his eye, he glanced at the person on the bed, and his gaze towards him became more disgusted. I didn't want to. Then he added, it's my duty to protect your safety. Don't forget that my life is linked to yours. I will never let you be in any danger. Qiao Wanyan walked inside and hurried. Lion patted his mouth. Shut up. Just do what I say. If you are so disobedient, you won't get the antidote next month. Lu Jiana still didn't look at her. I didn't want it. Qiao Wanyan frowned and slapped him. You stubborn mule. There was a clear slap, but Lu Jiana didn't even blink. A red mark appeared on his fair cheek, and the stray hair on his forehead covered the emotions in his eyes. Lu Jiana was more than a head taller than Qiao Wanyan, but Qiao Wanyan didn't lose her momentum at all. Obviously in a lower position, she pointed at Lu Jiana's nose and scolded him. Did I keep you by my side to annoy me? If you're so disobedient, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson. After a few days of peace, you're itching for a lesson, aren't you? Qiao Wanyan was scolding him fiercely when she saw a crystal tear fall from the corner of his eye. She was taken aback. Why are you crying? Lu Jiani was silent for a moment. It hurts when master hits me. Qiao Wanyan was also silent. After a while, she slapped him again. Nonsense. If it didn't hurt, why would I hit you? Lu Jiani, she really had no mercy at all. All you do is cry. Crying away all your good fortune. Lu Jiani was silent again. This time completely silent. Qiao Wanyan kicked his calf. Get out. Don't stay around my tent. Don't care about what you see or hear. If you ruin my good deed, I'll kill you. Get out. At first, Lu Jiani could have gone out without being slapped. Now he went out after being slapped twice and scolded severely. All was quiet. The crescent moon was half hidden behind the clouds, and the night was deathly still. The entire Shanglin hunting ground was quiet, except for the Imperial Guards patrolling from time to time. No one was wandering around outside. Two figures in black clothes quietly appeared at the door of Adent. They looked around carefully and found no one, then carefully picked the lock and went in. The two had excellent night vision. By the faint light, they saw a maid dozing off by the bed. They lit a knockout incense and pushed the maid. When the maid fell to the ground, they boldly walked to the bed. The lighting in the tent wasn't good, and they could barely see someone lying on the bed even with the window. The two went up, wrapped the person in a quilt, carried him on their shoulders, and left quickly. After a while, the door of the cabinet creaked open. Xiaolan immediately got up from the ground and went to the cabinet door to help Qiao Wanyan out. When the people came in and walked up to her, she held her breath in advance and didn't smell any of the. She had been holding her breath until they left, almost out of breath, but the lingering fragrance still made her feel dizzy. She fell to the ground and took a long time to recover some strength. Xiaolan whispered, Miss, who are these people? Shen Che, the heir of Xiling. Xiaolan was confused. Why would the heir of Xiling kidnap you? You've never met him before? And you have no grudges. Why would he do this to you? Kiao Wanyan Ti dyed her clothes. Because he's crazy. A crazy person who does NT care about the consequences. Shen Che is extremely fond of beautiful things. While others may just take a few extra looks and praise them, Shen Che will carefully collect beautiful things. Beautiful people are made into beauty skins and collected. He's simply a madman with a messed up mind. The novel mentions that Shen Che has a special room for his collections. The room is so big that it's as big as 4 or 5 Yongning pavilions. The number of beautiful women who have died at his hands is more than can be counted onto hands. As the crown prince of Xiling, Shen Che is of marriageable age, but officials in Xiling dare not marry their daughters to him to climb the social ladder. They are really afraid that instead of climbing the ladder, their daughters will lose their lives. In the novel, she met Shen Che by chance in the evening, and was regarded as his prey by Shen Che. That night, those secret guards took advantage of Xilon, going to the toilet to drug her and kidnap her. That night, she sat on a chair unharmed. When she woke up, it was the middle of the night. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw Shen Che sitting opposite her, looking at her carefully. He looked at her until dawn. Yes, just looking. Even she found the words in the novel incredible. Without any emotion, his gaze was purely one of appreciation for beauty. If Xilon hadn't opened her missing in the morning and told her father, who sent people to look for her in secret, she might have been made into a beauty skin by Shen Che after being looked at all night. I don't know where the news leaked, but Kiao Yuhuan also found out about this. Xiaoying spread the news, and when the matter became a big deal, Kiao Yuhuan earnestly suggested that she marry into Xiling to avoid being gossiped about in the capital and losing her innocence. If it weren't for her father, she might have been married off to Xiling. This time, she had Zhang Qian take her place, and she was now very curious about Shen Che's expression. At first, she had considered letting Kiao Yuhuan be the one, but she had learned her lesson last time, when she did something that was NT, written in the novel to hurt Kiao Yuhuan. She would faint for no reason. She didn't want to take that risk. If she fainted again, she was afraid that Shen Che the madman would kidnap her even more easily, and make her into a beauty skin. On the other side, in a palace in the Imperial Palace, Shen Che walked out of the inner hall in a blood-red robe, looking unrestrained. His skin was as white as snow, and his steps were slow and uninhibited. His sword eyebrows slanted into his temples, and his face was extremely handsome. Looking at the bundle wrapped in a quilt on the couch, the corner of his mouth evoked a smile, which was evil and dangerous. That was the look of a hunter at his inescapable prey. The guard stepped forward and opened the quilt. The moment Shen Che saw the person inside, his smile disappeared. What is this? The 2 shadow guards were also taken aback, looking at the unconscious strange man on the couch in disbelief. That was indeed second Miss Kiao Stent. Why was the person tied back from the bed omen? The 2 shadow guards immediately lay tea on the ground, panic written all over their faces, waiting for orders. Shen Che's interest vanished in an instant. His thin lips were as red as blood. Useless fools. His tone was as flat as stagnant water. Moments later, Shen Che turned and walked back to the inner chamber, his faint voice drifting like mist. Slit your throats. A close-range guard asked my lord. What about the man on the couch? No response came from the inner hall. The guard didn't press further, just waved for everyone to retreat. On the other side, Kiao Wanyan sat on a soft couch in a jawed white underskirt. She waited until Xilon had replaced all the bedding on the bed before leisure lie, climbing in and falling into a deep sleep, perhaps due to the lingering scent of the knockout incense in the air. Kiao Wanyan slept extremely soundly that night. Dreamless, when she woke the next day, she felt she hadn't had such a happy and comfortable night in ages. Miss Yurei awake, Xilon hurried over as soon as she saw movement by the bed, her face beaming. Miss the young Marquis. The young Marquis he. Zealand could hold back a snort of laughter, then tried to compose herself before speaking again. The young Marquis was stripped naked and hung from a scaffold. He was spotted by patrolling Imperial guards at dawn and rushed back. He's 7 unluckier than last time. Last time he still had his underclothes, but this time he was left in nothing but his underwear, ha ha ha. Zealand laughed until her stomach ached. I heard the patrolling guards whispering that when the young Marquis woke up, his face was so dark with anger that he yelled at them to keep quiet. Hia Wanyan chuckled. It's strange. He didn't storm over here first thing. After all, he'd been unconscious the night before. He had no idea he'd been taken to Shen Chase place, stripped, and hung up. No doubt he'd assumed she was behind it. Zhang Qian really was hapless, getting stripped and hung up twice in a row. Who on earth had done it the first time? The emperor had no plans to receive the Xiling Envo Wise that day, clearly showing he didn't take Xiling seriously. But while one plays the tough role, another must play the nice one. Following Xiling's lead, the crown prince invited the Xiling heir and princess to hunt in the forest, along with young nobles of the same age. Hia Wanyan was among them. It was a perfect day, clear skies and a crisp breeze. Hia Wanyan arrived a bit late, delayed by choosing a horse at the stable. By the time she reached the forest entrance, a crowd had already gathered. Most lie around the crown prince and the Xiling heir, exchanging polite but cold pleasantries. He Ziyu noticed Hia Wanyan lingering at the edge of the crowd and called out, Wanyan. At the sound, Shen Che turned and his gaze locked onto the figure in the distance, unblinking. As the focus of the crowd, the crown prince drew everyone's sayas to Hia Wanyan, yet she showed no trace of hesitation, wearing a faint, elegant smile that made her look both graceful and harmlessly delicate. Zhang Qian frowned, tracking her with his eyes, but she didn't spare him a glance, which only fueled his anger. He knew she would let it go, knocking him out, stripping him and hanging him up. Was that any way for a noble lady to act? He still couldn't believe it. As Hia Wanyan passed Shen Che, her hair ribbon fluttered in the breeze, brushing his neck. Shen Che felt a strange itch in his heart. Such a peerless beauty should be preserved as a skin scroll, her beauty locked away forever. Only then would her existence not be in vain. Why didn't you bring the bow I gave you? Did you forget it? Asked the crown prince. Hia Wanyan paused. That bow, your highness, I accidentally broke it. He Ziyu didn't blame her. No matter, the string can be repaired. Send it to Jing Yuan this afternoon, and he'll fix it. Hia Wanyan looked uneasy, as if struggling to find the words. He Yanli's lazy voice cut in. It's not the string. She snapped the bow in half. Just say it straight, why be afraid? He Hugh's expression darkened. He Yanli added, he accidentally broke the phoenix bow. You would be angry, would you, brother? He Hugh remained composed, but inwardly wondered why Wanyan had taken the blame for He Yanli. An honest mistake. He Hugh said, why would I be angry? It's Shustapati Wanyan can enjoy the hunt without a proper bow. Every word was mild, but each one jabbed at He Yanli. He Yanli ignored the implication, and Signa led to Mo Hao, who presented a bow in a wooden box to Hia Wanyan. This is who you. The compensation I promised. I hope you will accept it, Miss Kiao. The crowd gasped. Receiving Hu Yu, known as the finest bow in the land, left no room for dislike. Prince Jing was shocking. Lie generous, such a valuable gift for a broken bow. Shen Che eyed the bow in Kiao Wanyan Shan's, then her face, his expression as dark as an abyss. Shen Shu licked her tongue. Even in Xiling, I've heard rumors. Prince Jing is far more generous than they say. Why give such a gift for a broken bow? Shouldn't he be glad to see her upset? He Yanli shot her a cold look. A bow is trivial. If I wanted to upset someone, I'd do a more dignified method than such childish tricks. Shen Shu Norsted, taking down a ministeress, Daughter is as easy as crushing an ant. Why pretend? A glance from Shen Che silenced her immediately, and she lowered her eyes meekly. To outsiders, she seemed respectful to her brother, but in reality, she read the crown prince's ruthless nature. Shen Che said lightly, "My sister speaks without filter. I hope you will forgive her." Prince Jing, Miss Kiao is fortunate to possess who? You. Might have the honor of knowing your name? Zhang Qian interjected sarcastically. What does it matter? You ray from Xiling you will leave soon. Why bother learning the name of someone you will never see again? Shen Che glanced at him then looked away, a flicker of disgust crossing his face. Zhang Qiyun was confused. Was this their first meeting? Why the dislike? Was this guy crazy? Qiao Wanyan ignored the others, absorbed in examining Hu Yu. It lived up to its reputation as the finest bow. The phoenix bow the crown prince gave her was beautiful, designed to appeal to women, but Hu Yu, though less ornate, had a gilded frame and strings that shimmered like silver frost in the sun. It exuded power even without being knocked. She was so focused that she didn't notice the others watching her, especially He Hu, whose usual calm facade couldn't hide his irritation. Princess He Baozhu, though a royal, stayed back to enjoy the drama. She knew beauties like Qiao Wanyan would attract attention, then women couldn't help but admire her. But this scene was beyond entertaining. The crown prince, usually unflappable, looked furious. Prince Jing wore his mug look like a favored concubine in Apollos drama. The love triangle was better than any soap opera. Shen Shu turned to Zhang Qiyun. My brother was just asking why be so rude. Zhang Qiyun ignored her with a snort coldly. Thank you, Prince. Qiao Wanyan said suddenly. Those 4 words made He Ziyu's expression sour. Zhang Qiyun sneered again. What else? The use of a fine bow if you can shoot? It'll be wasted in the forest. Qiao Wanyan paused, looking at him with wide, wounded eyes. Her lashes fluttered as she bit her lip, looking like a flower beaten by rain. Utterly pitiful. You ray right, young Marquis. I me too clumsy for such a bow. Zhang Qian panicked. No, that's not what I meant. He Hu snapped. A gentleman should be kind and chivalrous, not bully women. Zhang Qian, Wanyan is delicate, why embarrass her in public again and again? Shen Shu chimed in. The Deu crown prince is overprotective. What's wrong with a nobleman criticizing her? Is she that fragile? Zhang Qian barked, stay out of it. You ungrateful wretch. He Hu ordered apologize. Qiao Wanyan said softly, her eyes brimming with innocence. Your Highness, there's no need, the princess is right. I'm used a minister's daughter Ishold bear his words. He Ziyu stone softened. Don, be afraid. As crown prince, I swear that here, all are equal. He turned back to Zhang Qiyun, voice sharp, apologize. Zhang Qiyun looked at Qiao Wanyan's wronged face, and felt like a jerk. Wait, something was off. Shouldn't she have scolded him or even slapped him? Why was she so meek? His words hadn't been that harsh. Fine, I was wrong. Don't be mad. Qiao Wanyan nodded, clutching Hu Yu tightly to hide her smile. Normally, Shen Shu knew be insulting Qiao Yihuan, with the crown prince and Zhang Qiyun defending her. But now, she was the center of the drama, as a villainess. Shen Shu naturally Ted the heroine, but today that was her, making Zhang Qian the scapegoat. Qiao Wanyan looked toward Qiao Yihuan in the distance. Though she couldn't see her expression, she knew it must be priceless. Too bad the plot had shifted. The crown prince should be teaching Qiao Yihuan archery, but now, how could she join the hunt without skills? To survive, she had to fight. Playing the innocent would only get her trampled. Zhang Qian grumbled, why stare at her? Does she have flowers on her face? Shen Che answered honestly, Miss Qiao is beautiful. I can't look away. His bluntness drew all eyes. But Shen Che didn't care. Qiao Wanyan felt uneasy. Under his gaze, terrified he might skin her. She instinctively hid behind Zhang Qiyun, behind. If anyone was getting skinned, let it be him. He was handsome too. Zhang Qian was surprised, but a strange protectiveness flared. Qiao Wanyan was beautiful, but Shen Chei's stare was creepy, like a predator eyeing prey. As Adeu's subject, he had to protect her. He Ziyu didn't realize his goal at Zhang Qian was murderous. He told himself she'd only hide behind because Zhang Qian was closer, but a voice in his head insisted that people seek safety in those they trust, and she used to seek him. Glancing at He Yanli's jealous expression, He Ziyu felt a twinge of satisfaction. At least he was the only one rattled. Shen Shun frowned. Weren't they supposed to hate each other? The crowd held their breath as the drama swirled around Qiao Wanyan. No doubt, she was a born troublemaker. He Heal announced it's time. Hunting at Shang Lin is Adeu tradition, to strengthen the body and pray for our land. Let us all enjoy the hunt and show, siling our hospitality. Once inside the forest, the group scattered. He Ziyu kept Qiao Wanyan by his side. No one dared question the crown prince. Shen Shuan trailed behind, eyeing Qiao Wanyan with distaste. Qiao Wanyan leaned toward her and whispered, "Got a staring problem? I can help you fix that by ugging out your eyes." Shen Shuan froze. This wasn't the weak, submissive woman she thought, but she must have misheard. Qiao Wanyan pointed at her, lips moving soundlessly. "Who are you calling an idiot?" Shen Shuan exploded. Qiao Wanyan blinked innocently. "Pardon, princess?" He Hu looked back but said nothing. Shen Chei snapped, "Behave." Shen Shuan swallowed her rage, shooting Qiao Wanyan a poison look. Qiao Wanyan pressed on. "Why glare at me? Did I offend you? Please tell me so I can apologize." Shen Shuan spluttered. You're shameless. How could such a delicate-looking woman be so vicious and manipulative?" Qiao Wanyan lowered her eyes, feigning confusion. He Yanli smirked. She was loving this. Compared to Qiao Wanyan, Shen Shun was an amateur at intimidation. Shen Shuan met Shen Chei's warning gaze and bit back her retort. "She jet even just you wait." He Baozhu rode between them, shooting Shen Shun a defiant look, before turning to Qiao Wanyan. Suddenly, she saw a green blur and caught it only to realize it was arsenic. Qiao Wanyan shrieked, and He Baozhu accidentally flung the snake into Shen Shuan's lap. Another scream pierced the air. Servants whisked away the snake, leaving Shen Shuan pale and shaken. Seconds later she fainted. "Take the princess back," Shen Chei ordered. Qiao Wanyan watched them leave. What? Unlucky day. She opened an umbrella, fearing more creatures might fall from the trees. After all, she'd always hated things without legs or with too many.